Karen Hoa's voice was a sledgehammer, shattering the quiet of my mountain retreat. This cabin's perfect for our HOA gala, and you will let us use it, she bellowed, her triple chin wobbling as she jabbed a manicured finger at me from my own porch. I stood frozen, my morning coffee turning cold in my hand, as this human bulldozer from the town's homeowners association demanded I surrender my sanctuary for her tacky event. I'd moved to this secluded cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains to escape people like her entitled, loud, and utterly oblivious to the word no. But Karen wasn't just asking. She was commanding, as if my property were her personal playground. She'd already waddled onto my land with her clipboard, her floral muumuu straining at the seams, and a posse of HOA minions trailing behind like obedient lapdogs. The main conflict was clear. Karen believed her status as HOA president gave her divine right to my private property, and I was just a stubborn obstacle in her path to glory. I'd bought this cabin 3 years ago, after my wife, Clara, passed. It was our dream, a quiet escape from the city's noise, a place to breathe, to heal. The cedar walls still held her memory, from the bookshelves she'd sketched to the wildflower garden she'd planted. This wasn't just a house. It was my last tether to her. And now, Karen HOA, with her fake smile and real audacity, was trampling that sacred ground, claiming it for her spring fling fundraiser. You don't understand, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. This is private property. You can't just private. Karen snorted, her jowls quivering. Honey, nothing's private when the HOA needs it. We're raising funds for community improvements. You're part of the community, aren't you? Her tone dripped with condescension, as if I were a child who didn't know better. Her minion, two nervous-looking men in polo shirts and a woman clutching a stack of flyers nodded like bobbleheads. I glanced at the flyers. Spring Fling, a night of elegance, they proclaimed, with clip art of champagne glasses and a photo of Karen grinning like she'd won the lottery. Elegance. The woman looked like she'd raided a thrift store's clearance rack and lost a fight with a bedazzler. I almost laughed, but the trespassing sign she'd ignored at the edge of my property killed any humor. Karen, I said, stepping closer, you're on my land without permission. That's trespassing. Leave now, or I'm calling the sheriff. Her eyes narrowed, and for a moment, I saw something darker than her usual arrogance, pure malice. You think you can scare me? I know the sheriff. He's a friend of the HOA. Go ahead. Call him. He'll side with us. She folded her arms, her clipboard clattering to the porch. I didn't bluff. I pulled out my phone and dialed Sheriff Danvers. Karen's smirk faltered as I spoke, my voice calm but firm. Sheriff, I've got uninvited guests on my property. They're refusing to leave. Within 20 minutes, 2 deputies rolled up in a dusty patrol car. Karen's confidence returned as she strutted toward them, her voice syrupy. Oh, Deputy Harris. Deputy Klein. So good to see you. This man's causing a fuss over a simple community event. Deputy Harris, a grizzled man with a no-nonsense stare, didn't return her smile. Ma'am, this is private property. Did you have permission to be here? Karen blinked, caught off guard. Well, no. But the HOA. No buts. Harris cut in. You're trespassing. You were told to leave, and you didn't. That's a crime. The air grew thick with tension. Karen's minions shuffled nervously, their loyalty wavering. The woman with the flyers whispered something to one of the men, who nodded and stepped back, clearly wanting no part of this. Karen, however, doubled down. This is outrageous. Do you know who I am? I'm Karen HOA, president of the HOA. I've organized every community event for the last decade. And you're still breaking the law, Deputy Klein said, her hand resting on her holster. Step off the porch, ma'am. Now. Karen's face turned beet red, her breath coming in short, angry huffs. She didn't move. Instead, she pointed at me. He's the problem. He's hoarding this cabin like some recluse, refusing to contribute to the community. I couldn't stay silent. Contribute. You're trying to steal my home for your tacky party. This isn't about community, it's about your ego. The deputies exchanged a glance. Harris pulled out a notepad. Ma'am, if you don't leave voluntarily, we'll have to remove you. And if we find evidence of further violations like that banner you nailed to his porch without permission, that's vandalism. Karen's jaw dropped. She'd hammered her gaudy, spring fling banner into my cedar railing, leaving ugly holes in the wood Clara had lovingly stained. I hadn't noticed until now, and the sight made my blood boil. That's my property. I snapped. You damaged it. Karen scoffed. It's just a few nails. Don't be so dramatic. Dramatic. I stepped forward, my voice shaking. This cabin is all I have left of my wife. You don't get to waltz in here and ruin it because you think you're queen of the mountain. For a split second, Karen's smugness faltered. The deputies noticed, too. Klein stepped closer to her. Ma'am, last chance. Leave, or we're charging you with criminal trespass and vandalism. The crowd of locals who'd gathered, 3 neighbors who'd heard the commotion, murmured among themselves. One, an older man named Tom, called out, Karen, you've gone too far this time. Let it go. But Karen didn't let it go. She grabbed her clipboard and waved it like a weapon. You'll regret this. All of you. I'll sue this whole town. That was the final straw. Harris nodded to Klein, who swiftly took Karen's arm. You're under arrest for criminal trespass and vandalism. Karen shrieked, flailing as Klein guided her toward the patrol car. You can't do this. I'm Karen HOA. I'm important. Her minions scattered, one dropping the stack of flyers, which fluttered across my lawn like litter. As the deputies loaded Karen into the car, her muumuu catching on the door, I felt a strange mix of relief and pity. She'd built her identity on bullying others, on believing her title gave her power over everyone else. But out here, in the shadow of the mountains, her self-proclaimed importance meant nothing. The neighbors approached me as the patrol car drove off. Tom shook his head. She's been pulling stunts like this for years. About time someone stood up to her. The woman, Ellen, picked up one of Karen's flyers and crumpled it. She tried to fine me for planting roses in my own yard. Said they were too red. She's a tyrant. I nodded, my anger fading into exhaustion. I just wanted to protect my home. And you did, Tom said. Clara would have been proud. Hearing her name stung, but it also grounded me. I looked at the cabin, the wildflowers still blooming despite the chaos. Clara's garden had survived worse than Karen HOA. The next day, I heard from the sheriff's office. Karen had been charged with criminal trespass and vandalism, and the HOA was holding an emergency meeting to vote her out as president. Her reign of terror was crumbling, her arrogance finally catching up to her. I didn't attend the meeting. I had no interest in her downfall beyond keeping her away from my land. Instead, I spent the evening repairing the railing, sanding down the holes Karen's nails had left. As I worked, I thought about Clara, about how she'd love this place for its peace, its simplicity. Karen had tried to take that from me, but she'd failed. The cabin was still mine, still ours. I stepped back, wiping sweat from my brow, and looked at the mountains silhouetted against the twilight sky. The world felt quiet again, the way it was supposed to be. Karen's demands, her threats, her clipboard, they were gone, carried away like leaves in the wind. Sometimes, standing up for what's yours means standing alone. But it also means protecting the things that matter most, the things no amount of arrogance can touch. The end.